Today we're going to go over my top 5 mythics of Dragonstorm. Number 5, Smile at Death. A 5 mana enchantment that at the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. I just think that this is going to do really well in mono white or white based weenie decks. I think it's going to be really good and a lot of fun. Number 4 is Baitor, Kin to All, a 5 mana Abzan Spirit Dragon that's a 5/7. Flying at the beginning of your end step, if creatures you control have total toughness 10 or greater, draw a card. Then, if creatures you control have total toughness 20 or greater, untap each creature you control. And finally, if creatures you control have total toughness 40 or greater, each opponent loses half their life rounded up. I just really like that this gives you benefits for having a board state in the form of card draw, pseudo-vigilance, and finally making your opponents lose half their life. It's really great. I like it a lot. Number 3 is Mox Jasper. I don't actually really think this is one of the most powerful mythics, but it's going to see probably some of the most play. Simply because it's a 0-drop mana rock that could tap and add 1 mana of any color, and activate only if you control a dragon. So this is a Cheerio that just does nothing for decks that care about 0 drops, or if you are playing dragon-based decks, this is pretty much the best mana rock you can have. Number 2 is Rock Curse Rakshasa, a 2 mana mono black demon that's a 5/5 with trample and decayed, and renew X black to exile this card from your graveyard and put a decayed counter on each of X target creatures, but you can only activate it as a sorcery. Where I think this is really good is as a 2-drop aggro creature because it's a 5/5, and in the late game, it makes it that your opponent's creatures, if they attack, have to be sacrificed. It also makes it that your opponent's creatures can't block if you give them that decayed counter. And finally, number 1, Ugin, Eye of the Storms. It's a 7 mana planeswalker that whenever you cast a spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors. +2, gain 3 life and draw a card. 0, make 3 colorless mana. And -11, search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards, exile them, and then shuffle. And until end of turn, you may cast those cards without paying their mana cost. The ultimate is fantastic, of course, as many ultimates are, but the fact that you act as removal and colorless, it gains you life and draws cards, gives you some of your mana back if you wanted to. It's just fantastic and the best mythic in the set.